Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to an episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was Smurfs, making $5.4 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $22 million and its worldwide total to $69 million. Smurfs didn't fall too much, all things considered. Given the reception, you'd think it would plummet, but it held pretty alright for itself, especially for a family film. 51% drop off, that's not too shabby, and thanks to its international grosses, it has surpassed its initial $58 million production budget. If it can keep going at this rate, I'm sure it'll get to $100 million worldwide, which isn't too shabby for a new Smurfs movie, especially one that has received such negative reception. But I still doubt that this is gonna really amount to anything special. Again, it was a modest hold, but it's nothing too spectacular. It's definitely not going to turn the tides over for this movie. I still think this is going to be large in part the lowest grossing film in this franchise. I just don't think there was any real call for the Smurfs to come back, and this movie is certainly not receiving the word of mouth it needs to help it out. Not only that, but it's got to deal with another kids movie coming out this weekend, and that's going to take all of this movie's remaining audience. So yeah, unfortunately, Smurfs still looking like a big disappointment at the box office right now. Again, just not a lot of people going out to see it, not a lot of people encouraging others to go and see it. It's just looking like a bit of a dud. Number 4 was F1, making $6.3 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $165 million and its worldwide total to $510 million. F1 continues to be the sleeper hit surprise of the summer. It has just been staying around, lingering in the top 5 for so long now. It definitely has surpassed my expectations. I thought this is where it would end up, but the fact that it's still going despite all the competition, and especially with the big 3 it had to deal with, the fact that it was able to pretty much, to put it lightly, stay in its lane and continue to build upon itself with its strong word of mouth is really impressive to see. If anything, it should meet right around the domestic totals of Thunderbolt and Mission Impossible, which again, who saw that coming really? Again, this movie has really just met with a lot of people. A lot of people really resonated with this movie, and even more so resonated with it internationally. Obviously that was expected because Formula One is massive internationally, but the fact that it was able to push its worldwide total to $500 million globally is also really impressive. There's a chance this could crack $600 million worldwide. Again, I don't think anybody saw this coming. This truly is the biggest surprise of the summer, to me at least, and I couldn't be happier to see something like this, an older skewering sports drama making this type of money and having this longevity is really awesome to see. And seeing how this is most likely the last weekend we'll see it in the top 5 given the number of movies coming out this upcoming weekend, it's going out definitely on a high note, especially on a big milestone such as 500 million worldwide especially. So props to you, F1. You really defied the odds and became truly a big box office hit. Number 3 was Jurassic World Rebirth, making $13 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $301 million and its worldwide total to $719 million. Jurassic World still doing really well. It continues the previous trilogy's run of cracking $300 million. Domestically, we'll see if this has $75 million left in itself to surpass the domestic run of Dominion. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to do that. Again, we're in the dog days of the summer, but still $75 million, that's kind of a tall order, and I do think we're going to see it start to slow down soon. But still, the fact that it has still again triumphed over the 2 other big competitors of the big 3 this month is still worth celebrating. It's definitely impressive to see how all 3 of these movies, which we'll get to very soon, weren't able to cannibalize each other as of yet. They were able to coexist, which is really strong. But even more so is that it seems like this movie will be the big winner of the big 3. It's made the most thus far. It's had the most grosses domestically and internationally. Obviously, the other 2 just most recently came out, so it's not much of a fair comparison. But from the looks of it, it definitely looks like this is going to be the big winner, which is impressive considering the reception to this movie. movie in particular wasn't the best, but it does seem like it's going to crack 800 million worldwide, which is still really impressive. I don't think this needed to be another billion-dollar grosser. It would have been nice if it was, but I don't think it needed to really do that. It just needs to show, once again, that Jurassic World is still a big force in the box office, and clearly this does show it. People still love these movies a lot. Again, the big question is if it's gonna get to the totals of the original 3 from Jurassic World, the past 3 from Jurassic World. Again, I don't think so, but the fact that it's gotten this close is still really impressive, really remarkable. Yeah, not much more else to say here. Jurassic World's still doing really well. Number 2 was Superman, making $24 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $289 million, and its worldwide gross to $503 million. That's right, folks. Warner Brothers got 2 movies this week that surpassed the $500 million milestone globally. You know, they were celebrating a lot this weekend. But as is still, this movie is still doing really well. Even with the competition this weekend, it still put up a good fight, albeit it did fall steeper than last weekend, but you would have expected it to have a much steeper drop off than it did, you know, like around the 60s, but it actually was able to get under 60%, just 58% this weekend. Really impressive. It does show that the word of mouth is still strong. People still want to go check this movie out, and it's about to surpass the entire domestic run of Man of Steel. Not only that, but also 300 million domestically. At the rate it's going to surpass Jurassic World Rebirth for the biggest movie of the big 3 domestically. Again, worldwide, Jurassic World's beaten this. It's already taken the crown, and it has a bigger trajectory, you know. But yeah, if this is anything to go off of, I think this still does show that the word of mouth and interest is there for this movie. And as we head through the dog days of summer, as it winds down in August, I think this will it'll be able to bounce back from this drop off and continue to soar to new heights. Definitely, I still think the interest and hype for this is there, especially considering how it was still able to put up a good fight this weekend against another big superhero movie. Yeah, things are still looking pretty good for Superman. Obviously, this might be a bump in the road, but again, I think it'll be able to pick itself back up after this weekend. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was The Fantastic Four: First Steps, opening with $117 million this weekend domestically and $219 million worldwide. This is the biggest opening in the Fantastic Four franchise. It topped the original from 2005, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and Fant Four Stick. It is the 18th biggest opening of the MCU, sitting in between Spider-Man Homecoming and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It is the 3rd biggest opening of the summer, topping Jurassic World Rebirth and How to Train Your Dragon, but still sitting behind Superman and Lilo and Stitch. It's the 2nd biggest opening for a superhero movie this year, topping Captain America: Brave New World and Thunderbolts, but still sitting behind, once again, Superman. And naturally, it is the 4th biggest opening of the year overall, topping, once again, Jurassic World Rebirth, but still sitting behind Superman, Lilo and Stitch, and a Minecraft movie. So I do think this is a good opening, especially for the MCU right now and the Fantastic Four. They got their first big 100 million opener this year. It definitely showed that there was a lot of hype. This was definitely the big Marvel movie everyone wanted to see, and this bodes well for the Fantastic Four joining the MCU. People really wanted to see this team, these characters, join this franchise. There was a lot of hype and excitement for that. I think the marketing really sold this movie well, and again, the buzz was really strong, so it definitely catapulted this movie to new heights for the MCU. And while no official number has been confirmed, it's said that the movie cost at the very least $200 million. It's already made that back worldwide. This is a good start. However, something interesting I did notice this weekend was that it seemed to be a bit on the front-loaded side of things. If you recall what happened with Superman, as we got further into the weekend, the numbers just kept going up. It kept reaching new heights, and while it didn't reach the heights of the highest expectations for that movie, it definitely overperformed and exceeded the projections people thought it would. Where this movie, as we got further into the weekend, the numbers got lower, so that was definitely concerning. I think either it's just casual audiences are just waiting to see what people really think about this movie, and then they'll go out and see it in the weeks to come and we'll see strong holds, or this is the fan rush. Most of the fans wanted to go out and see it quickly as possible, and the movie's going to be very front loaded because while the response hasn't been bad, not far from it, critics really liked it. The reviews have been like in the high 80s from what I've seen, and audiences also really like it. It got an A- on Cinema Score. It's on par with Superman and Thunderbolts, and it's the best out of any of the Fantastic Four movies. The Tim Story ones both got B's, and Fan Stick got a C+, so that bodes well for its legs. However, from what I've seen, it seems to be more in line with Thunderbolts than Superman, because Superman I've just seen universal acclaim for. Everyone I've talked to has loved it or is really excited to see it. Fantastic Four, I've seen people like it, enjoy it, but that's about it. And I think that's going to be really interesting to see where this movie heads down the road. Maybe I'm in a certain bubble when it comes to this, and this does exceed expectations as we go further into its run, like what we saw with Superman. But I don't know. I feel like this is we're going to see something similar with like Thunderbolts, because again, the response I've been seeing has been good. People like it, people are enjoying it, but they're not absolutely loving it. So that's going to be very interesting to see where this takes this movie further down the road, because again, it's the dog days of summer. This is like the last big movie of the summer, so that's definitely going to help it out. But if word of mouth doesn't carry it out, then this could be a slight disappointment, especially with how much they've been hyping and building this up, how this connects to the next Avengers movie and whatnot. So definitely going to be interesting to see where this movie heads further down the road. But as far as the opening goes, I would still say it's good. It's definitely good. I wouldn't say it's fantastic, but I would still call it a very good opening. Definitely a strong start for this movie. It's just the road ahead is going to be interesting to follow. And those were the top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. This weekend we have 2 new wide releases, starting with The Naked Gun. This is the reboot or follow-up of the classic spoof trilogy of the same name. This time Liam Neeson will be playing Frank Drebin Jr. and has to solve a new case in the name of Police Squad. Now, before all the trailers and advertising for this movie, I was very skeptical about this movie, the fact that it was an older franchise. I don't know how it would appeal to like people my age, and comedies haven't been doing well thus far. But once those trailers and the marketing campaign rolled out, my expectations have skyrocketed. I think this could surprise. Nothing like The Hangover or Ted like back then, but like it could definitely impress. I think the buzz is there. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about how excited they are to see this movie, and everyone who I've shown the trailers for has been cracking up. They do really play well, especially before Mission Impossible. The audience loved it. Again, the marketing has been fantastic. All the various posters and trailers, the PSA encouraging audiences to see more comedies. It's been golden. I also think the star power is really selling this movie well. The fact that Liam Neeson, of all people, is in this alongside Pamela Anderson, I think that's really selling the movie very well. Yeah, I think this could really surprise. Again, comedies haven't been doing so hot as of late, and if the movie isn't as funny as the trailers make it out to be, then they think this movie could be in trouble. But I don't know. I have faith. I think this movie could really surprise. And then there's The Bad Guys 2. It's the sequel to the beloved DreamWorks film of the same name. The bad guys are trying to turn their acts around and try to reform themselves after years of doing, well, bad things, but they get set up by the bad girls to pull off another heist in hopes of fulfilling another job. So the bad guys have to find a way to sabotage the bad girls in order to continue their acts of good. It's not as convoluted as I made it sound, I promise. But yeah, the original was a surprise hit. It came out during that early recovery period where people were unsure of going back to the movies, and this was one of the few films during that point to really bring people back to the theater, and I think this one's going to do really well. It has what I think Elio and Smurfs lacked. It has a really solid marketing campaign. I've been seeing a lot of promos and stuff for this as of late, and it does seem like people are really excited about this movie. The first one definitely has a lot of fans, but I also think with the other two animated movies being rather uninteresting and lackluster to a lot of families, this one I think really does look appealing to a lot of families, and considering that they largely pass on those, I think this will easily be the big animated film of the summer. Again, the marketing has been really solid. The Mission Impossible little animation video they did a while back was really clever. They've been releasing a lot of parody posters with Mr. Shark over the past couple of weeks that have been pretty funny, and they even had their own episode dedicated to them on the Quiz with Balls. It's not as weird as it sounds, trust me folks. But yeah, it has a big marketing push, and I do see a lot of people getting excited talking about it. I think this will be a really solid opener. I don't think it's going to be like Despicable Me or Spider-Verse where it really explodes like, whoa, this is like the next big thing for animation. I think we'll see a nice increase, and this will make a good amount of money for DreamWorks. The problem though is that it is August. This comes out on the first day of August, and by that point, kids are already getting ready to go back to school. They won't have as much time to go to the movies, so we'll see how that largely affects this movie's box office performance. I think they may have put this out too late in the summer for that if they wanted that summer box office money. But still, though, I think the interest and the marketing has been solid enough to where I think this will do pretty solid. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that landed in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all those social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.